Hey there, welcome to Old Man Runner. In today's video, I'm going to challenge my friend Con to race from Greystones to Bray. First, I'm going to show a video of Greystones and Bray, two seaside towns. Then I'm going to show a video of the race with me on foot and Con on bicycle. Finally, I'm going to see who won, what went right, and what went wrong. I'm making this video because in preparation for doing a marathon in Chicago, I need to do some long runs, and I found that one of the interesting ways was to take a train out and run back to 2 or 3 hours. And I started to go out to Greystones in County Wicklow, which is a short distance from Dublin on train, less than an hour. And it was a beautiful run between there and the headland of Bray. I did this before with Hoth, which is on the north side of Dublin, and I challenged my friend Con to a race on a bicycle. And this time I thought, yeah, why don't I challenge Con to a race from Greystones to Bray? Instead of a challenge, I was going to run the coastal path from Greystones to Bray to the east of Bray Head. Con was going to cycle inland to the west of Bray Head, and whoever got there first would win. The loser would buy lunch on the Bray Promenade. In advance of the run, I took some panoramas with my iPhone. This is Greystones. This is the promenade that I will be running along. I'll be running to the right towards Bray Head, which will come into the distance now in the centre of the shot, covered in mist. And then as we pan around, you'll see the new marina in Greystones. Not hard to guess how the town got its name. And as we pan around, you'll see the old town ahead of us. This is the beach at Bray. And again, as we pan around, you'll see Bray Head. I'm coming around on the left and Con's coming around on the right, on different sides of the head. We'll arrive, I'll run down this promenade and we both finish on the other side of that bandstand just ahead. As we sweep around, you'll see that the promenade in Bray is really pretty long. James Joyce lived down the end for a period and you can see Dublin in the distance. And again, we pan out and you get a look across the Irish Sea. I created two routes in Strava, one for the coastal path I would run on and one for the inland roads Con would cycle on. The run is 7.21 kilometers long or 4.48 miles and it rises to 96 meters or 315 feet. Strava says it should take 40 minutes and 27 seconds. The cycle is a small bit further at 7.8 kilometers long or 4.85 miles and a small bit higher at 129 meters or 423 feet. Strava says the cycle should take 90 minutes and 23 seconds or less than half the time of the run. And both of the maps are on Strava on Old Man Runner, and you can download them in links here, so if you wanted to run them or cycle them yourself. The challenge was set for Friday, and early on in the week, we went out to Greystones and Bray for two reasons. One, I wanted to do some background filming of both Greystones and Bray, and also the route between that the car or the bicycle would go on. We were going to be traveling out on the train to do the race, which is a great way to do the train journey, is lovely. And we're going to be doing that. And so therefore, I wanted to carry some of the camera equipment and go out early. The second reason was I wanted to be sure Con was familiar with the route. And we had done this in Hoth. We'd gone around and I'll show you some clips from the video I made in the car. And I kept showing him the video and telling him turn right, you'll see it here. Now, on this route, if in doubt, turn right, okay?
Yeah.
So we're turning right here,
yeah.
Okay?
No, I normally go straight on up here.
I know that, you're not normal, right? We're going right here, okay?
Yeah.
So this is the main thing. You're nearly always turning right.
Yeah.
Okay? So you turn right.
Well, I'll follow the route on my Garmin.
So we turn right here.
Yeah.
Okay? From here on, every turn is a right turn.
Yeah.
Okay? And what did he do? Yep, he turned left. This is the car journey from Greystones to Bray. It's the route that Con is going to have to cycle along. It's gentle on the way out and then it rises up to a pretty steep hill and then it's basically a zoom down and all the way into Bray. Con has to fight off various traffic that will be coming along. I mean, he's on his own man's bicycle. He won't be outgunning the traffic, but he will have to get around obstacles. And of course, there are things like traffic lights that pop up every now and then. I think there's 3 or 4 on the way. If he's got a good run, he won't get stopped at any of them. And then here we are. This is like the first sort of gentle hill. And then you go down in a dip and then you rise up. And on a bicycle, the weight he's got, that's, it's not easy. I'll be running to the right towards Bray Head, which again, you can see clouded in mist. If you do decide to do this, I mean, the walk or the run is obviously nicer than the cycle route. Typically, I like to go from Greystones to Bray. A lot of people go Bray to Greystones, but I'll give you the reasons why. The sun's at your back, the wind is at your back. Largely the wind goes from southeast in Ireland. The view is forward. It's nice to have brunch in Greystones and lunch in Bray. As you go to, more people walk from Bray to Greystone, so at least that's how I observe it. And as you're running along, I mean, it is narrow and it's easier for people to see you coming, particularly if you're running. And shout out to everybody who won the race, was great. The other thing is that there's much more trains from Bray to town to Dublin than there are from Greystones to Dublin. So it's easier to get the train out to Greystones at a time that suits you. Maybe have brunch, go into Bray, which is coming up now, and then there's much more trains then at a more appropriate time to get back into Dublin. But this is coming towards the end of Con's run. He's now in gnarly townland stuff, goes down this big long hill. We did this in advance to just check. You can see Bray head to the right. The seafront is straight ahead of us. There's a kind of, if you're on the cycle route, there's a sort of one-way systems all around Bray. So we whiz down this road again. This is speeded up. And then we literally turn down to the right. When we get down to the seafront, there's a cycle lane across the road. The Con is going to cycle down. It's a couple of 100 meters to the bandstand. And I'll be running along in the distance. In setting the challenge, I tried to figure out how fast Con would go, how fast I would go. If Con went on his regular bicycle, his carbon fiber bike, he should go twice as fast as me. He'd easily win. So I set him a challenge of going on his old man's bicycle, a single geared, strange old bicycle he bought. He said on the flat he could go 14 kilometers an hour or 8.7 miles an hour. And then I was able to run, based on my previous one over Hoathead, 4 minutes 45 seconds per kilometer, or 12.6 kilometers an hour, or 7.83 miles an hour. Anyway, you put all the numbers in, you worked out the route so that we'd finish if we both went those speeds at exactly the same time. I didn't think I would go that fast because the route was narrow, twisty, shaly, ferns, all this sort of stuff. So I didn't think I was going to go that fast. But then I didn't think Con would go at the same speed up and down as he would on the flat. So I didn't fancy either of our chances really, which was perfect for a challenge. The first decision for me in terms of the kit was what I was going to wear. And ultimately I wore the North Face Vective, a carbon fiber shoe with tremendous grip. I had considered a Craft CTM Ultra Carbon, which is similar weight and size, but the grip is poor. I also wanted to run an Innovate G300, which I really did want to run that route in it, and I will again, but I thought the weight of that might mitigate against it. So as this was a race, I decided to go in the North Face, and it turned out great. I wore a pair of shorts which are here. I had to carry a lot of filming kit, which I'll show you. These are my unsanctioned shorts, and they've got pockets down each side, a pocket in the back with a zip, which I needed. They also have this sort of strange retaining loop, which is I think for a towel in a gym, but is really great for a GoPro handle. And I wore these Under Armour compression shorts, but again, these have a slot down the side for my iPhone. So I had to carry an iPhone to do some filming. I carried a Rode little clamp for that. I also carried this little thing which screws, it's a tripod mount, so you could do that. Carried the Dead Cat with the microphone. These are both by Rode, and these plugged into the iPhone, which you'll see in some of the videos. And then I also carried most of the filming I did on my GoPro. Turned out it came the day before. This is a GoPro Hero 10. I did it in time warp. And then I brought this thing, which is an Insta360 handle, which I was going to be able to use to make background shots and do all sorts of things. So it's carrying a range of stuff, plus credit cards, plus train card, plus keys. And I wore this, I like this because it can zip down. It's a sore running orange half zip, I think it is, but it's also got 2 pockets down here. So it's also able to, that's where I put the Dead Cat and a couple of other things. And I wore the GoPro chest mount. So I had a reasonable amount of kit, but not too heavy actually. It was and very pleasant to run in. It was tightly clamped in and easy to run in. For this challenge, Con and I travel out in the train. Here he is wearing his mask. It's a beautiful train journey out. You go past lots of seasides, view out to Hoathead. This is Dunleary Harbour. You come out along the coast of the Vico Road in Dalkey to Killiney, and this is coming into Bray itself. You'll see a little boat on the roof of the harbour bar. And then we go from Bray to Greystones. You go inland under some tunnels, and the run that I'll be running on is a bit higher than this. It's up overhead, but beautiful views out to the Irish Sea. And then as you come down into the town of Greystones, you'll see now in a second, you'll see the path that I'm starting to run on is just straight ahead, and you'll see a little bridge that you'll again see in the running video where I run across. And then we come down, and this is us arriving in at Greystones railway station. We filmed a piece in Greystones trying to predict what would happen. So here we go. Let's see what we thought would happen. Okay, so we're both here in Greystones. What do you think is going to happen?
I think it's hard to say. It's quite windy. It's deceptively windy, and I'm on an old-fashioned steel frame bike. It weighs about 18 kilos, so I'm also in civilian clothing. No lycra, no carbon. This bike has one gear. I don't have a compact group set, and I have 2 major hills to climb. So I think it's all up in the air.
Okay, well, the route, your average when you were on the flat was 14 kilometers in and out on a route.
Yeah, on this bike.
Bike.
Just to clarify,
Yeah.
on my carbon bike, I'm much faster.
And on the last time we went over Hoth, which is over there, well, I'll spin the camera around a second. So what we did was I did 4 minutes 45 a kilometer, but on smooth tarmac, and I'm going to be running up shale, and it's narrow, and you have to stop for people, etc., etc., etc. And then there's a quite a steep slope as you run down into Bray and then along the promenade. So I'm not going to go at 4:45. I mean, I said that last time. I didn't think it was going to go even at 5 minutes per kilometre.
But you didn't drop a chain the last time.
Yeah, or
get lost.
Turn the wrong way. So I'm expecting that I'll go slower than last time, and I'm expecting you'll go slower than last time. And the question is really who's going to that much slower. So we'll pan around and you'll see the Bray head ahead of us, and then you'll also see Hoth head to the right. So this is what actually happened. This is the GoPro clip from my chest mount with the GoPro and Time Warp. It's hard to avoid the nodding donkey look, but it seemed to largely it goes okay. I'm running on the promenade in Bray, then around Bray Head. And there's some nice shots where you can see the railway down below in part. You can see the Irish Sea. Couple of minutes in, I nearly face planted. I tripped on a rock. The one thing I was trying to avoid, and the one thing I was thinking about not doing, I was sort of daydreaming at that point. That's sure woke me up pretty quickly. You can see me sort of go, the earth coming up, but somehow, despite a large scream and a big stumble and blah blah, I went on. Then it's downhill into Bray. You can see Dublin in the distance, and the finish at the bandstand. So what exactly happened? Well, you can tell from this audio clip recorded on Con's GoPro at the end. You get a, here we go. Yeah, you get a good idea of what actually happened and who might have won. But let's go to the coffee shop in Bray for the big reveal.
Distance 7.75 kilometers, moving time 23 minutes 45 seconds, average speed 19.6 kilometers an hour.
Okay, 7.14 kilometers, 36 minutes 1 second and 0.21, and 5 minutes and 3 seconds per kilometer. In other words,
I win. For a change.
Well done, Con. Chapeau.
Thank you very much.
What happened? You went much faster than your 14 kilometers predicted on the flat.
Yeah, I went much faster than I expected. And like when we left Greystones, I was averaging about 14 kilometers an hour, which is in and around what I thought I was going to do, until I hit the first climb. And then my speed suddenly plummeted down to about 8 kilometers an hour. It was tough going up the hills. There was 2 hills that kind of stepped up. It was hard enough just because of the incline, hard enough because of the old steel bike and the one gear, but wearing jeans and the headwind didn't help. But once I made it over the crest, I seemed to have made up the speed. At one point I was doing 36, 37 kilometers an hour, and it was a bit squiddery with those handlebars.
Brakes.
So I was braking well in advance of coming up to the roundabouts. And once I made it to Putland and I was made a right-hand turn there, heading down to Bray Promenade, I got up to 45 kilometers an hour, which
that's a huge speed.
Much faster than I thought I was going to do.
I mean, I think we probably said it in advance. I didn't think you'd gain on the down what you might lose on the uphill, but clearly I was completely wrong. I didn't. I went about as fast as I thought. I thought I might get to 5 minutes a kilometer, but it was twisty and turny, and I actually went at the start. I went up quite well at the start, but then it sort of I didn't make it up on the downhill. Yeah, there was people here and there, and there's a few bits and pieces, but largely, unless you went slower than 14 kilometers an hour, I wasn't even with hope, which I kind of knew as I was coming on my way in. So, well done.
Thank you very much. Lunch is on you.
Certainly is. So what went right and what went wrong? Well, I ran pretty well. I mean, I ran faster than Strava said I'd run, but I ran pretty well. But I didn't go all out on the downhill. I ran pretty well on the uphill, but on the downhill, particularly after I nearly face planted, I wanted to make sure I didn't get injured. Strava said I'd run in 40 minutes and 20 seconds, and I ran in 36 minutes and a second. I ran at 5 minutes, 3 seconds a kilometer. I wanted to go below 5 if I'll do it another day just to try that, but I wanted to go below 5. No matter what I did, I wouldn't have beaten Con for a couple of reasons. One was, although he was on his old man's bicycle, he cycled pretty well. We thought, actually, he cycled really well. We thought, I think we both thought, that he'd struggle on the uphill, which I guess he did. But we didn't realise that he could really zoom on the downhill, that all that weight that he was dragging up the hill, actually, when he went to go downhill, really helped. It wasn't a case of that what went on the flat would have a zero-sum game. It actually he gained, I think, on the downhill from all the effort he put up on the uphill. So, chapeau, Con. I was using this challenge as part of preparation for the Chicago Marathon, and although I did not enjoy being beaten by Con, it was great practice because, after all, now I'm going to be beaten by at least 10,000 others. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, it'd be great if you hit the like button. There'll be lots of stuff in the links below, and as always, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions that pop up in the comments. There'll be a blue subscribe button popping up there and some related videos there. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, just keep running along.